Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Um, yeah, after recording all the footage and then reviewing it, I noticed that everything was off kilter, and I'm sorry about that. So, in this video, I've been prepping and getting ready for EUIC next week, or later on if you see this video, or this is my last final run of Gardy for the season, so I'm just doing some prep here. As you can see, I'm just sort of loading up my board state, getting everything ready. Um, there's a couple of different things I could have done here, but I decided that I would just play it sort of slightly risky, only have one curlier, because they're starting with an Ends Reshiram. They're not going to get an attacker up on their first turn, not that I can think of. So I've played it slightly more risky. Go for a slower game plan here. Um, yeah, they just take forever to decide what they're going to do, and they just attach a fire and pass, which it's a bit mad. So understanding they've still got time, probably not the smart move, because if they're struggling to do anything, they're doing that. But we can then at least get the energy, and we can item lock them with Frillish, which just makes their day 1,000 times worse. And then we just got to hope they got 1,000 like item cards, but they do get that Manda down. This is where I start panicking, because Mandas are no fun in a Gardy deck, especially if you've only got a single Routes Curlier down. So you've got to be careful here. Battle Cage, I'm not too worried about. They stop our damage moving to their bench, but it's not the end of the world. We've got one energy stuck on Mew, and we'll start prepping. But yeah, it's been a little while since we put out our last video. We've done a couple cups and challenges. We've come mid-table. Would have preferred to do better, but that's why we haven't done a video in a while. And we did Birmingham. We took balls to Birmingham, which was a good laugh. We did awful, but it was fun. It's the joys of taking a essentially a YouTube deck to a massive tournament. Everyone has a good laugh, and it was fun. But my lord, did I brick a lot that day. So that's one thing I've never really had with Guardy too bad. Is bricking. In this video, I think I have a single game in which I brick. But yeah, we'll carry on with this one. So they didn't do much. They just counted down the time and then eventually passed. We then, Iono, get into what we want really. So we can start trying to set up our Gardy. So we're just checking what's here, what we want, because we need to choose a supporter. I go for research, which probably wasn't the smartest move, but it's fine. Because I should have got rid of the researcher and bounced the stadium. But hindsight's a delightful creature. Because we've got knockout here either way, so we're just going to again press them. Because, they've got a Manda, they're not turbo evo into it. We didn't even take knockout. 400 IQ. How much health is that? Charmeleon's got 90, hasn't it? So yeah. So they're going Neo Upper and they're going everything else. Unless they can unstick our Jellicent, which they can't because they've already played a support for turn, we can just continue just holding dominance in the middle section and just being a pain in the arse. Probably shouldn't have evolved into Jellicent because it gives them the advantage on that front. And what we can do though is we can boss up the Charmeleon, which we should do, but we don't. Because what we should have done is bossed up, put 2 energy across, and then taken the knockout and prevented them another turn for getting Zard. But it's fine, because it is what it is. So watch here, what happens is that they'll then Evo into Charizard. They start getting their backup support set up, which is the sensible thing to do here. So, let me just watch it. I still love Zard. I'm going to be very sad when it actually rotates in April. Having played that deck a lot myself, it is a lot of fun. And it'll be sad to see it go. It is bloody oppressive though. So I think Dawnzard should do very well in next week in EUIC. This is what threw me through a loop. He's playing oh, we get rid of the boss. I don't even know why. Oh, I know why. It's because we want to research away as much shite as possible. So they just take knockout. We move up the Flutter main. I don't know why I always say it in a West Country accent. It confuses me. We're going to Earth and Vessel, Screamtail, get Dark Psychic. start setting up our Monkey Doros. Bring back the Screamtail, which we kind of regret now, but it's fine. So we take that, like, knowing our opponent is most likely going to try target our Gardy here, we try to start setting up multiple attackers. So, as you see, I set up the Flutter main, I set up the Flutter main, sorry, and I just go for a basic little like damage poke on their Zard. Like, they've taken 2 prizes, so if I was to copy their attack, I'm hitting for 240. So I need that 90 damage on there. Annoyingly, he rare candies because I no longer have item lock control over him, and he rare candies into another Charizard. But he starts trying to get the board state ready for himself, so he can do things. So you'll see him get his little stupid fish. Oh no, he gets the Zard here because he doesn't have the Zard. So he Mega Charizards with 360 health because that thing's a brick wall of fucking madness. But it's fine because you see him just doing his stuff. He's trying to get things ready. He's trying to get stuff sorted. He then gets his little fish because everyone loves that stupid fish. And just an attack, do damage, start things up. But yeah. So now he's just burning darknesses, which for us works out because basically it meant that he didn't have what he needed in hand. We could do a couple different things here. So we play the Team Rocket's Mimikyu, which basically does what the Mew does, but for a 1 prizer and for 1 less attack. And it means we get to ping the damage across to something else. So, you know, we need to start setting up that damage elsewhere. Try giving him some more cards. We can go for a bit of play here or there, or depending what we want to do, but we just go for the simple knock. Take his 2 prizer with our 1 prizer, leave him with a fresh hand of 3 cards, which hopefully isn't anything good, and kind of just try and start setting things up. But we still have the Mew set up for an attack, and we've got the Diancie in hand now, so we've got our plan, because we only need 3 prize cards left. He's got his Megazard down, so we just let him take knockout here with whatever he wants to do, which was quite handy, because then he goes down to 2 prizes, we go down to 3, and we can activate that counter catcher in our hand. So we're just going to move up the Screamtail. Oh no, we move up the Mew in the end. We bench the Diancie because we're trying to desperately do maths here. So we're like, oh, if we do this much damage and we do this, and we can do this, and we can do this. So we move up the Diancie, we Gardy up the damage. We decide what we need to do because we can't quite tell. So because I'm still trying to do maths here, because I've not got used to using the Diancie yet, I'm trying to figure out how we need to do it. So I'm like, right, I'll put all the 30 to 60 damage on there. Then I Iono stupidly, but I then remember that it's fine because Zard needs energy on field for discard. Like, so at most he's doing 180, so he could, if he had boss, kill our Mew. Luckily for me, he doesn't, and he goes into a Fez. He then starts trying to set up extra. Oh no, is it a Fez or is it an Oricorio? I think it's an Oricorio now, actually. Either way, he just starts trying to set up his board state. He's got the 2 Oricorios, but he's got nothing in hand, so he's got nothing he can attach. And this is where he gives us game, because he benches the Cleffer, and then he retreats into Cleffer, and then just gives us something else. So all we have to do here is move the damage across to pump us up to 60. We don't even have to do 60, we just do 30, and we just see what he does. Because we've got the Screamtail, so even if he doesn't move it up, we just take the Charmeleon. So we give him the option of picking something, and then he just decides to time out and be a bitch. So he moves up to Megazard. We're like, okay, how much damage do we need to do? What do we need to do? So we only need to put another 60 on there for it. So we put the 40 on, we move the 30 damage across, and he's given us the thumbs up thinking we're not going to take a knockout, but Like, we just go clap. And that Mega Zard goes to the Mega Graveyard. So that was a good game one. Like, we jump straight into our next game, we start prepping, we start thinking, you just gotta keep going from game to game to game. Like, you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. At the end of the day, it's a card game. There's a certain level of RNG and there's a certain level of fun to it. But, in this game, is it this game? From memory recalls, this is very unfortunate. No, this is a good game for us, once again. So, we're starting Cleffer into what is probably our more favourable matchup, in a sense of that they're playing. This is where I discovered we've prized all our Evo discs, and I have a little meltdown. But it's fine because we can just slow play. So we attach the Bravery Charm. If we can't Evo, we're just going to go trying to get things ready, trying to get the ball sorted. So we're just going to go slow, steady, and get what we need. So, because we've got Nubble Nest Ball, we don't need to worry about trying to get Artisan, because we don't want to give them the support either. And we don't want to play the Mystery Garden yet, so we just hold on to it. Because essentially what we want to do is we want to play that on our turn, get the most out of it, and just take it easy. So, essentially, all we need for knockout here on their Dracloak is a single energy, which with Lilies and Mystery Garden should be bloody easy to achieve. So... Oh, sorry. Filming this very early. Recording this early on a Sunday morning when I'm half asleep. So they Lilies, they sort of start setting up their board state. They get their other Dracloak, then they get their Buddy Puffin, they get up the Charmander, and now we have to worry about what they're going to do. So there's nothing else they can do, so we just have a mild meltdown over what we want to do. So we attach the energy and then we Lilies, because we want to keep the boss for later. So we got the Mew, we got the thing, we got that, and we Lilies back into the same boss. So, and we got Rare Candy, so we're just going to turbo it. We're going to turbo absolute madness, and then we can get one energy. No, we've got another Iono. We've got 2 energy in this guard, so we're safe for retreats and such. So we just take a cheeky knockout, slow down their draws pace, and we get the other Candy, which is brilliant. So... with the Clefairy, we know we're safe from a first turn attack, well, a counter attack from either Zard or Dragapult because of the Bravery Charm, so we've got enough health, because Zard would be hitting for 210 or Pult would be 200, so we're comfy here, we're easy. They move up their Charmander and then evolve into Charmeleon, which I thought was stupid because you do not want to be going, so they just scoop, yeah, which is understandable. So we go to the next game and we start trying to get it ready again, and it's the same cycle. We just got to practice, play, learn your lines, learn your stuff, it's just practice. And this is how I hope EUIC is going to go, that all my opponents just misplay and I can have a great time. So not knowing what my opponent has first, we're just going to go with the Flutter Mane into the active, and we're not going to venture anything else. So this was actually quite funny. So we tried to decide what we want to do. We've got a single Curlier, which is a bit of a nightmare here. So we get rid of our Jellicent, we just start spamming energy, trying to get it all out of the deck, because that's what we want to do, and we'll bench a second Pokemon and then we'll pass. Luckily here, because our opponent is playing a very specific kind of format deck, we get a bit of time. And so essentially what they're doing is they're trying to play the Chicory Turbo Evolve energy handover via Self-Explosion, which is really good until someone has a Flutter Mane in the active, which prevents them from doing that. So, because we've only got one route, we have to be extremely careful here. So they're just play. They're just trying to do everything, and I'm just trying to remember what Forest of Vitality does. It just lets them turbo Evo. We luckily make another turn, so we just start doing everything. Lily's away, get a new hand, trying to set up. Because we're worried about the knockout play, what we're going to do is we're going to go straight into Gardy and prevent our opponent from doing enough damage to just take a straight knockout on our beautiful, beautiful Gardy. But what they do is they just go evolve. Yes, baby, I know. Indeed. So they're just doing their thing. They switch, and then they take a. Did they take a knockout with this thing? No, they don't. They just do a bit of damage. So because we've already got energy in the discard, and because they've just decided to attack us for free damage, we're just gonna put the damage back onto them. We debate the bravery charm, but we don't do it, and we just attack for 90 and we splash the damage back onto their next Chikorita. And it's nice and easy. So, oh look, it's a route! Oh my god, who'd have thought you'd run these in the deck? He moves up his Pinecone again, he evolves into his Pinecone, and then he can't pop his Pinecone. So he switches it, because he suddenly remembers you can't use that ability. So he then gets his grass, he fezzes, all he's doing is just prep, ready, and then he dawns to get his beautiful, stupid Mega Evolution Pokemon. He thinks he's well clever. He's like, oh, look at me, I could go straight into fucking Mega fucking Fauna. And we're like, cool. So he pops his plant and gives us another 2 prizes to put all the energy across his board state. But he's now benched 2 big 2 prizes, and he's attacking with a big hefty 1 prizer. So, you know, our options here are pretty broad and pretty wide. So we're just going to go for the routes. We're like, okay, what do we want to do here? There's options. There are options. So not really knowing how to counterplay this thing, because I've never played against it. I go for the Curly, and I'm like, right, we'll just slow Evo up a second 1. And then we bench the Fez, which I think was a mistake at the time, but it did help with the draw support, and it did get me the second energy. So, because we had the Bravery Charm and the double Dory set up, we were able to go a little harder than we probably should have been allowed. Because then we go Brave Charm, we then go Attach Energy, and then we just go Fonk. We take a cheeky little knockout on the Mew, which I probably should have taken the Fez first, but it's not the end of the world, because we have a plan. We have an absolute G-Unit plan here, and it's quite fun. So we're just waiting for our opponent to decide what he wants to do, because he's now holding 400 different cards, and he's just like, the options, and we just need to take a single prize. So as you can see by my delightful hand, if he doesn't, so he does nothing, so we have a jolly old time. We bin a load of stuff off. Being an absolute knob, I decided to do a bunch of different things. So bench the Mystery Garden. I'm just thinning out my entire deck for the sake of just being a bit of a pleb here. So that was me just doing extra steps to try take the Fez and Liberty, when the entire time I could have taken that stupid grass Pokemon to the left. And, you know, you watch back over and you play these things, you're like, why did I do so many extra bits of bops and steps for just the world's most basic? You should have just attacked. So we got another game. Not an overly great starting hand, but not a terrible one. So, you know, we've got our routes on the bench, we've got our Clefairy in the active, which don't really want to start a 2 prizer, to be fair. It's kind of giving too much away too early if your opponent can get a decent start. And if someone can start Clops and go Evo Zard, it's just a board wipe. So, you know, luckily, touch wood, that's only happened a handful of times. We wish good RNG upon ourselves, and we wish for RNG Jesus to give them bad times. But in this case, RNG Jesus really gave them bad times. So as you'll see in this game, it's pretty rough. I mean that in the nicest way possible. So as you'll see, it just takes forever to decide. And annoyingly, because I've moved the clock to the side, you can't see the timer going down here. This is at 2 times speed, so I'm like, okay, we're just gonna keep this hand and just hope and pray that they can't do anything. And as you'll see, we just attach, we pass, because we're holding Candy Energy Gardy. So we're just going to go absolute balls to the wall turbo if possible. So you see my opponent having a midlife crisis over having a single Bulbasaur in the active and not being able to do anything with the 8 cards he's holding. So I've got a nice time here because I just need to, like, as you see, Candy Evo, I then Iono, hoping to get some basics, and survey says we've got basics, and that's the damage we need, and that's Murder She Wrote. We just take the Bulbasaur, we take our prize, and that's the game. That was the quickest game I had while doing all this, which was really nice. Right, next game was yeah, interesting to say the least, let's say. So we choose to go second, our opponent will go first. And our starting hand isn't great, but it's good enough because we think, oh look, we've got Iono, we've got Research, we've got Evo Energy, and we see Petron. We're like, okay, so it's playing Sharpedo probably. And then we see the Brute Bonnet, and we start thinking, oh sugar. And then we see it, there's the Petron and the Bog. Luckily, thank Christ, that Monkey Dory has a lot of health. Otherwise that would have sucked ass. So what we do here is we decide to Arven because we don't want to give him card advantage. He's already got it. But when we were doing that check then, we made a minor boo-boo. As you can see by me getting my 1 item and my 1 supporter. And then we made another boo-boo. Because we didn't check everything, did we? That would have been smart. So when Sir Lancelot here goes to Evo, oh, we did get the Curlier, it's fine. So, damage goes up, he takes a knockout, and then we have to feed him something else. So we feed him the next monkey, which just sucked us something fierce. So he lilies into a massive new hand. Like, he's just like, okay, so I'm just taking knockouts by waiting turns, which is just Gashington Hall in the most Gashington format. So this is where I'm like, oh, okay, so what's his big game plan here? What's going to be his attacker? He gets a Chalksaw, and I'm like, okay, so we're going for the Poison Salp again. I'm now absolutely bricking myself because I'm like, right, well, I've got 1 turn to try and get something up. No, that top deck was awful, so but luckily we get the Gardy, we get the Flutter Mane. We can start splashing energy away. I'm trying to decide what we need, what we can get. So I go with the combo of energy. I attach energy. I retreat, which was a mistake in hindsight because I could have done dark energy. I could have then attacked, and I could have done other things. But you know, it is what it is. I decided that I wanted Flutter Mane instead, and I still haven't used the bloody Super Rod that's in my hand to Evo up, which was a mistake again. But we get boss, so it's fine. This guy's gone Petron. We're like, okay, now we've stopped your actual like annoying attack plan. What is your actual attack plan? Because Petron's great for attacking with if you're attacking like right at the end of the game, and you're just going to be like wham. So we see him go for a monkey, and he dark energies. So I'm like, okay, there it is. There's the pedo fish. Shark pedo fish. So he starts doing his usual things, like he's just trying to get stuff set up. He can only move 20 damage across to me, so I'm not hugely worried, but I am mildly annoyed. So he then just tries to load up my energy count on my a bunch of my different things. But annoyingly, because I couldn't bounce the stadium, he's going to take a knockout with stadium. So he takes a knockout there with the stadium, which is just mildly annoying. We then put that on there. We're like, right, we need some of these Pokemon back, and we need this stuff back. So we mix those two back into the deck, and then I don't know, because we're just trying to see what we can get here. And we get a beautiful little walk in the tropics. Because we get the energy, we can get the other stuff, and then we start getting our next thing set up. And then we go back for the Flutter Mane, because Flutter Mane in this matchup is carrying the Lord's work. So we put one on there. So this is where I decide I'm just going to be a pain in the arse. And he should have moved the fucking damage there. You see that misplay? We did not move the damage from our board side to their board side. Now our Dory is on 10 life left, and we didn't do anything about it when we should have moved the damage off the Dora, the Explorer. And you see me there patting my head like a spoon because I'm like, what did you do? We should have moved that damage. Luckily, and I say luckily, in the most bloody lucky format in the world, that this guy has bricked. So what we can do here is that we can just load up our double damage, and now we see ourselves remembering that Dora the Explorer can ruin other people's days by being a pain in the arse. So we just move the 60 damage from our side onto theirs. We then double check our energy count. We discard once a retreat, and we move up Flutter Main, the babe of pains, and then he scoops because he knows exactly what's happening, because I'm going to take both his fish. So we'll go to the next game. Oh, I was on quite a cheeky little run this morning. So I'm going to see that run come to a very abrupt end in a bit, but this is not the match that occurs. So we've got another game, another prep, another get ready to roll. Our opponent bricks a little, which is helpful, and then he flips Khan and Frost, so we're assuming it's going to be Mega Frost Lass or some sort of variant. Then he goes for some 400 IQ play and pulls out a Dreepy out of nowhere, and I'm like, what the hell is this? So he goes Dreepy Energy, draw, and then he plays Calamitous Mountain, and we don't want none of that in our lives because Calamitous Mountain sucks ass. So, but what we want to do is we want to thin our deck, so we're just going to go Tin, Secret Box, Evo, Tin, Secret Box, Evo. We get rid of the Jellicent here because it's not going to do anything in his matchup. Well, that's what we suspect at first. But we can always pull him out of the graveyard, because as long as we've got a jelly, just go, meh, that's fine. We're trying to decide what we want to do here, because we've already got things down. And I'm like, well, there's no point in getting the stadium, because I want that stadium on the field. And then we nearly misplayed with our 400 IQ, because we're geniuses. And then we just go for a cheeky little evolution of a Curlier. And then this Jack of Clubs here is an absolute 400 IQ play again. So he gets rid of our thing for a Calamitous bloody nightmare. He then lilies. I assume he's trying to get ready for a Mega Evo knockout, but he just fills his entire board and damages him all across the board state. And then he goes back into Khan. So we then try to figure out what we want to do, so we lilies. We get our Gardevoir, and we get Candy Gardevoir, but we don't go for it because we're like, right, well, we just want to do things sensible here. Nothing of what we got was any good here, and we don't really want to do anything, which means we then have to slow play a turn. So I just then pass, and then I didn't even collect, like, another misplay. If you're going to end your turn and you've got an attack that lets you get more cards, use it. Don't sit there and be like, oh, I don't need these cards, they're not important. Like, every card in your deck should be usable at a certain point or another, unless you get this hand where it's trash. Because we're 400 IQ again. So once again, we're just watching our opponent take his jolly old time, where he's going to crisp in, he's going to start setting up energy, he's going to do a bunch of different things. Fearing the worst, and I could have rare candied Mega Gardy, and I do, which is a misplay here, and I bravery charm the the Fez, but that's just because I'm like, right, I'll get rid of as many cards as possible in my deck, and then I can do stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this, and I'm like, okay, and then I remember that he's playing that stupid Calamitous knob on. Now, if we hadn't candied this giant Jack of Clubs, and we had actually been able to get some energies and such, we could have been laughing. But we don't, and we unfortunately suffer for it. So we just load up the Mew, and we try to go for their attack, and we move the damage back over to them. So we're like, haha, we're going to load up your Snorunt, and we're going to take a knockout next turn. So we're going to roll double heads, tails. It's just every time. I cannot play the game where it requires us to roll heads and ever hit our heads. That's like, if you ever watch me select my turns, I always choose tails because it's the only one I can actually roll. and whenever I get a like, oh, counter catcher, no, heads. And I'm like, cool, cheers, bud. So this is where it gets a bit funny, because our opponent thinks he's a real clever clogs, so he's going to prime catch him, and he's going to take up our Mega Gardy. Now, we have no energy in the discard, and annoyingly, we're like, okay, so we're just going to take the damage, and we're hopefully going to see an energy, and he goes in, and we're like, mother hubbard. Now we don't have the knockout there, so we're like, okay, we see what we can do. Now, I thought he would have put the damage on the Mew and start setting up, but he wants the Fez, something fierce. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the damage over from our Fez, because he wants to take a knockout on the Fez, because he wants to set it up. So we're just going to take up the Dracloak and just be a pain in the ass, because he then starts emoting us, because he's being a pleb. But that's fine. People can do what they want to do. So he's going to draw, he's then going to attach water energy, he's going to lilies, which I don't really understand here, but AO, I'm not one to judge. He then discards his energy, he moves up his Dragapult again. We're laughing, because we know what's in our hand, and we know what we've got. So, now he just Phantom Dives, and then he's absolutely bloody adamant, and I mean adamant, about putting that damage on that Fez. All 60, straight on Fez. We're like, cool, so we move up the Mew with the energy. We look, we get a top deck energy. So we're like, okay, that's fine. We take the Clefairy. He then starts emoting like, yeah, I've got easy knockouts here, woo. We're like, yeah, cheers, bro, you do you. So we then take more cards, and he just emotes spamming in the corner. We just ignore that. We just take the Dark Energy and the Psychic Energy. And then I suddenly remember, it's like, oh no, hold on. We're playing a deck that's a bit of a knob on. So I'm trying to decide what I want to do with the energy here, because his backup attackers are all set up. He can do whatever he wants. And we've got to thin the cards in our hand as much as possible. So, but it doesn't really matter. So we're just going to Phantom Dive, put 10 on his thing for knockout there, and we're going to put the other 50 on his Gengar Mega Kangaskhan. So it's down to 280. We get a load of cards. This is where he misplays. So he gets his Monkey Dory. He thinks he's ever so clever because he attaches the Luminous, and then he moves the damage over to our side. He's like, oh, look at me, I'm so clever, so clever. He moves the damage to the Fez, and then he evolves into Mega. Then he scraps the thing, so next turn he can take an easy knockout, and then he Ionos. That's the misplay here. He hits for 50 damage for each card in my hand. That's 270. So he doesn't have knockout. Now he has some sort of existential crisis where he doesn't even attack, he just passes the turn because he realises what he's just done. So at this point we just like, cool, we just wait. We've got the damage on our side, we can move up anything, so we just emote spam back at him just to cheer him up, because clearly he's in a sad place. And then we're just like, oh look, oh, Kangaskhan, knockout bro, have a nice time. Easy, good times. And then this is the beginning of the end. This is where sadness starts to roll in, and our win streak starts to vanish into what was known as fun, and is now pain and suffering. So, we've got a good start in hand, we think. We're like, okay, there's a mix of different things here. We're like, oh look, it's probably going to be a Snorunt again, so they're going to go Mega, blah 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 blah, and they're going to be a dick. But then it's all Rosambo. Oh no, this is actually the game I lost. I won this game, they scoop. As you'll see, I just discard stuff. I'm like, I always want to keep boss. I don't want to bin bosses if I can avoid it. We can't really do a great deal of what we want here, and so we're just going to go for the risk of trying to first turn energy off of lilies, which, to be fair, we're going to pull 8 cards. The chances of us hitting lilies is pretty high. We don't, but we do get the vessel, thank Christ. So we just vessel away Mega Countercatcher. I don't know why I got rid of Countercatcher. Mega Gardy should have been binned there. It's not really what we want in this matchup, but we only hit a single Curlier. So, womp, womp. So they then take their turn. This is actually quite a funny turn here, because they Artisan. So They get another Frogger, they Ultra Ball, they get a Pheasantipity, but they get rid of double boss, which makes me... No, they got Latias. Then they search for a Stadium and an Energy. Then they go to search again, getting rid of the Energy and the Stadium. They get Fez, and they skip. Right, and then we go to the next game. And then, as we see... We're just waiting for the odd flip of the coin and tails, because tails never fails, boys and girls. We always choose tails. Like I said before, whenever I roll something that isn't tails, it's guaranteed I'm not going to hit it. So we've got an interesting starting hand. We're not overly happy with it, but we're not overly sad. We go into Mega Lucario and we're like, okay, so we've got favourable matchup play here. This should be a nice, quick, easy game. So... we're trying to figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. As usual for a fighting Lucario deck, they're going to spend 3 minutes doing a bunch of throwing away and searching for stuff. Right? We don't get really a huge amount of what we want. And we're checking what we've got, so we then secret box. I'm going to be sad about getting rid of that secret box and getting rid of Fez later on, but that's for a bridge down the road. Because what we should have done is got rid of the extra Evo disc that we had, and we're now trying to figure out what we want and where we need it. So we're going for a bunch of different things. So, but luckily, because we've got the 2 discs, we can get rid of one, and we can get another one with it. So we're just going to go Fonk. Sadly, we couldn't get double Curlier here, which was really, really annoying, and in a second you'll see is really, really fucking painful. Because then we get super awesome fun time of dickhead jab, as I like to call it. But to be fair, I've been experimenting with this deck myself. So he just bosses up my Curly, he takes a knockout, and he starts setting up his next Lucario. And I'm like, for you not cool, bro. Because the candy doesn't really serve a purpose here, we just get rid of the energy. We didn't even attach an energy, but we do get another thing. So luckily, we just slap him for 60. We just go, tsh, tsh, come on now. Slap, slap, Mother Hubbard. He then sets up his second Mega Lucario. Luckily, in this matchup, we know we can go down to like 3 prizes before we need to start worrying too much. Because his prizes give away so many points, and we get so many for just knockouts that we can't survive the extra hit here and there. Oh, but our hand is a little bricky here, and it's a little concerning. So he lilies, he then gets a fighting energy, he starts doing more stuff, just fucking cycle, dun dun dun, da 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 da, ba 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 ba. Luckily, he doesn't have boss, so he's not taking anything too important here. Like, we're just like, right, so it's not a great deal we can do ourselves, and we don't really want to do anything, so we're just going to bench the Diancie, attach an energy, and then item lock him. We just go, beep, item lock, nice and easy, just control the game plan here. Because we have a plan, That's why we attach the energy to Diancie. We've got the big brains and the big energy and the big everything else, so we're just going to wait down the turn and see where it goes. So he then judges, which I'm not complaining about because that hand was trash. We get a new hand. It's not great, but my lord, is it a good hand? Because what we can do is we can monkey, which to be fair I should have searched out with the monkey. Super Rod, put the Curlier routes and dark energy back in because I want those back in the deck. We then get our Earthen Vessel and Bravery Charm, charm up our delightful little thing, double energy, energy attach, Mew for 2, and then Mystery Garden for a whole bunch more. And we still don't see anything good, but here we can just discard a single energy and just take a knockout. I was having to do the maths, and then I was like, no, hold on, it's just 1 energy because it's 240 damage and it's got 100 on there, so just bonk. We just, yep, nice and easy. We get the rare candy and we get the all the stuff we want. So this is where it gets a bit funny and does us a favour. So as you'll watch, he then goes through a Merrill Decisive. He gets the energy, and he gets boss. So he's like, right, okay, easy peasy. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna lunar cycle an energy. I'm then going to boss up a route. So I'm going to take a knockout because for my Diancie, there's nothing he can do. He's not taking that Diancie one way or another. But he gives us game because of that. So as you'll watch, we move Diancie back up. We pull out the Arven. We rare candy into God of War. We get rid of that to look for energy. And while we're there, we check that the counter catcher's there. Counter catcher's there, so it's fine. So we just attach a dark energy, we play Arven, we get our counter catcher, and then we just go bonk, and he scoops. So we go to the next game. Flip, tails, and I can't. So it's them first. And as you can see me dancing, I was all happy that I beat Mega Lucario, because apparently no matter how much I play that deck, I will brick it every single game. So this is another quick game where I just flip over and my opponent flips, and then I pull out the cheeky little go plan, get rid of Mega Gardy, 2 energies, attach to Diancie, because in all honesty this guy's going to probably just itchy pollen me and just go Meh, which, as we'll see, our opponent goes for the search of psychic energies, and I'm like, okay, and then he plays a Buddy Poffin, and I'm like, okay, so we know this guy's playing Gardy. He's going to try to unlock me using his Badoo. What we're going to do is just have a jolly old time, because in all honesty we don't have to worry about half the stuff here. So he itchy pollens, we then decide like we're just going to get a monkey ourselves. So as you'll see, he's gone and got Mew, which means that he probably plans on turboing or just playing some stuff and then searching. So we're like, yeah, you're not going to get draw support, bugger you. We then get our draw support, but to be fair, we did leave a Badoo in the active, so he's probably just going to be like, doo, but we don't take any damage from it, so it just unlocks us. We then bench, and then we research, because we do not want to give him cards either, so we just, oh look, Energy Evo, Screamtail, so we just evolve our Curlier routes. We've failed the Curlier, but we hit the God of War. So then it's their turn. They're trying to decide what they're going to do. Yes, that's right, Tori. Yeah, indeed. He's then not going to be able to do anything in scoops, and that's quick, easy, nice game. As you can see, I'm now trying to stuff my face with like my breakfast, and then throw some shapes, because you know you got to prepare yourself capoeira style to defend yourself in case someone comes at you with a dark deck. And survey says, bom bom bom, Murkrow, which when a certain someone watches this video, he's going to be all giddy and clapping like a schoolgirl, because he loves this deck and he runs this deck non-stop. Isn't that right, Bear? So, Daddy Bear, woo! Me trying to figure out what I'm going to do here is having the time of his life, just like trying to figure out how. So my opponent passes, I then get Artisan, I get a Routes, and I'm like, okay, Bravery Charm, in the hopes that maybe this guy's not going to be able to do anything. I can't do anything really beyond that, so I'm just going to pass, and this is where it evolves. This is the brickiest of brick games I've had in a long time. So my opponent's just like, cool, anyway, get rid of that, Bravery Charm. So instead of needing to have, no, there'd have been 2 supporters for him to chuck. He just needs to chuck 1 now. So he's doing the usual Team Rocket shenanigans of bidding 40 cards, searching 40 cards, doing a bunch of stuff. Then he takes a knockout, which he would have had to bin 2, but he bins 1. It's just annoying. Like, he then gets rid of his energy. I'm in this game plan, like, trying to decide what the best game of plan action is. So I'm like, right, I might as well just start trying to collect. And I'm just not getting anything. As you'll see, I'm 20 cards in from the top, and I've not seen anything worthwhile, and this is a running theme here. So he's just going to continue evoing up his board state, preparing, getting everything sorted, making it look beautiful. He's getting more supporters, he's getting more stuff. Yeah, just draw. At this moment in plan. Like, my idea is that we can't win the prize race now. He's playing a single prize deck. It's not a great deal I can do. I'm like, cool, I'll bring the Flutter main back because maybe I can do something with that. And then we're like, oh, we'll Super Rod, we'll put the Mega Gardy and the Curly back in, and we just top deck an energy. No, we collect into a rare candy, and then our opponent's just like ba 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 ba. He then just takes another knockout with a single prize. It's just problem after problem. We're like, oh, Mega Gardy, good to see you again, Scoop. So yeah, it was good. We had a solid run. We lost to a deck that we don't like, but it's fine. We just go next game, and then this turns into another bloodbath. So we start Clefairy, which isn't, once again, great, like I said before. Yes, that's right, baby. He starts, and then Trolleys. I thought this was some weird variant of Gardy, and then I'm very in for a shock. Because it's some sort of fighting shenanigans, and it's only midway through the game that I realise what it is, and a little bit of me dies, because I hate the deck he's now playing. Now, hindsight, should have gone for the research over Iono. But it's fine, because like we can just slam through our deck here, we can play lots of cards, and go Mystery Garden, and we get something really nice out of it, and then we pass. And it's really bugging me at this point that I've just realised that like everything's off kilter. So when I looked at my recordings, like I mentioned at the start, it was all off slightly, and I was like, Mother Hubbard. So we got one use out of our Mystery Garden, which usually is better than what I tend to do now. That's why I'm always forever holding it. So we got Arven, we got Secret Box. Trying to decide what we got, which isn't great, because we probably should have just Lilies, to be honest. But it's fine. It's fine. We check everything that's there, and we then confirm we're going to go Secret Box. We get rid of the Lilies, and we're like, probably shouldn't have done that, because we want to bounce the stadium. We get rid of that as well. Like, there's so many things we did not need to do here. Like, we just played super risky and super turbo-y on the off chance we would be okay. Tell you now, we're not going to be okay. We're not in Kansas anymore, little Jenny. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to be a problem. Like, don't get me wrong, we've got a attacker on field that we can attack with. We can do a bunch of stuff, but we have absolutely turboed at least half our deck into the bin or hand. And then our opponents just keep playing stadiums. Oh, God, sorry. Keep playing stadiums, and he's just going to keep playing stuff and just setting up his board state and keep doing stuff. So he then gets the Pheasant Skippity. He's just doing his thing, setting up his Pokemons, clearing his bench, and we've already used the 2 of the 3 Ionos we play, so now he's pretty good just to go fucking like, I want 60 cards in my hand. Cheers, boss. So this is where I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do, because I've got 5 energy in total in play, let's say, because discard, or graveyard as I refer to it quite oftenly from too many years of playing Magic, is all available to us. We want that plan, we want to bring that stuff back. Oh, he takes knockout. We have no option here than try to spoon feed him and try to thin our deck. So we then attach energy thinking we can avoid the damage, and then remember Clematis. So either way, we're going to be taking 40 damage. We then just go Fonk, take a prize, see what it gets, and we're just going from Earthen Vessel to Earthen Vessel, apparently. It's me checking my deck again, trying to figure out what the hell all my cards are, and I'm like, what the hell is this? But that will teach me for being silly and being super turbo and not checking things before binning them. Like, I set up for a slow Evo play this turn and then didn't go for it. And then I set up for something else and then I went for that instead. Like, flip-flopping on decisions and deciding how you want to do things just kills you. So he's got his Ursaluna all set up. And this is where we figure out what kind of deck it is. It's the Blood Moon cheap 1 prize Ursaluna deck, which then puts the prize race back in his favour. We get a supporter at last, and we're trying to decide what we want to do. We should have gone for the Fez, and we do, and then we flip the script, and then we get more stuff, and we get nothing good. So we're kind of in a predicament that we're not seeing our attackers really, and our Screamtail is good in this scenario, but not great. And we could have really done with getting a Monkey Dory set up here. So we've got no energy left in deck, and we've got just basic Pokemon that we need to try get going with. So now we have to put more damage on our Gardevoir, which is just hindering us more than anything else. We then move up the Screamtail, move all the damage across. Well, we move the Psychic Energy onto him for a knockout on the Ursaluna, because he's now got an attacker that's just set up that we can't ignore, and he's also got enough cards that we can't ignore. So it's, look, a Nespal. I wonder if they are nice and helpful in this matchup scenario. He then retrievals. Oh, so he's got like 40 cards in hand. Well, it feels like it, but it's only like 11, 12. He then sets up his Blood Moon Ursaluna again. Lots of energy, lots of attachments, lots of everything else. He bosses up our Gardevoir, and then he goes no 1 prize. And then he moves the damage across and he goes to 0 prizes. So we just scoop here because he's got game. And then that's it. Thank you all, and I hope you subscribe and such, and come back next time. Bye!